So if you want to come in here and listen, you need to be in here. If everybody will look at their tables, there's an agenda there as well as bios of all the panelists. And there's a questionnaire sheet. So if anybody has any questions for any of the doctors or any of the panelists, please write them out and someone will pick them up and bring them to us. Thank you.
Oh, it's not on. I'm Nancy Davis. Everybody welcome here. And before we get started, I want to give a major shout out to the person who will be moderating today, which is Claudia Curriel. Yesterday was her really big birthday. I'm not going to say the number, but she has done this forever, and we all need to say happy birthday to Claudia. Now that I embarrassed you, go ahead.
That's all right, I'll get even because your birthday's tomorrow.
That's right. And I'm registered at now.
Only one shopping day left.
Exactly.
All right, we'll get on with this because I know everybody has lots of questions and we have some doctors here with some great answers. So at this time, if you wouldn't mind turning your cell phones off or on silent, that would be great. And then we're going to let Nancy welcome you.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Nancy Davis, again, chairman of Race to Race MS. Last night we had our 21st annual Race to Race MS, and so excited to be here and amongst this esteemed panel of the most brilliant doctors in the country who've all come together to work as a team, and really a team, and collaborate and help us sort of take a major shortcut to finding a cure for MS and helping people find different therapies that will help the different types of MS. We all know that MS is not just one disease. There's many diseases lumped together, and no two people with MS have the same exact situation. It's so important to have this sort of holistic approach where we're getting everything that we can. I'm so grateful to have this brilliant panel here today. Last night we had an incredibly successful event. Some of you were there. We had Steven Tyler and Natalie Cole and CeeLo Green, amazing entertainers who really helped us raise so much money, but will help find a cure for MS. So happy. Jack Osborne was there auctioning last night, doing a great job, and so many people, so happy. And their family designed a car, and it was very cool. So anyway, I myself have MS. I have had MS for, I guess, 23 years, doing unbelievably well. Oh, bring the mic closer. Oh, can you hear me now? Sorry. Okay, didn't know. I've had MS for 23 years. When I was first diagnosed, it was pretty much a disease everybody felt we could never get anywhere. We could never find a cure. Today, looking at what's going on, MS is popular, wasn't popular. And popular is good for medicine because it means more people feel that we will find a cure. It's more profitable. There's a lot more people that have MS than are ever reported to have MS. I know we'd done a Zogby and a Gallup poll many years ago and proved that there's more like 2 million people that have MS, probably more now. There's so many things that have happened because of this amazing group of doctors. I'm so grateful that they have come together and put down those barriers that we discussed, and they approach research in such a very different way, and so excited. I personally am doing really well. I'm not a doctor, so if you want to ask really, doctor questions, I'm not the one to ask. But I am living a really healthy, good life. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy that you guys are all here today, so welcome.
Okay, our first topic we want to discuss today is depression and anxiety with MS, and Dr. Adam Kaplan.
Great, thanks so much, and thank you.
You might pull it closer.
Oh, pull it closer.
I got a note that they couldn't hear me.
Great. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Nancy, for allowing me to come here. So depression and MS have just 3 minutes to try to tell you something about it without getting you depressed. Let me tell you. Normally people are telling me to keep my voice down. Can you hear me now? No, still? I'd have to eat this to get any closer to it. So, oh, okay. Leave it to the pros. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, great. So I'm a psychiatrist, and the question is, how many psychiatrists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is just one, but the light bulb has to want to be changed. So I'm hoping to change the way you think about depression and MS. The 3 important things to know about depression and MS is, one thing, MS has the highest rate of depression associated with it of any medical, neurological, or surgical disease, and it's not G, you'd be depressed too, because people who are upright and mobile and you don't even know have MS can have terrible, even potentially life-threatening depression. It's really caused by the inflammation and the way it affects the brain. If you don't believe me, the easiest example I can give you is hepatitis C is treated with an immune cytokine, one of these chemical messengers of the immune system that gets going when people's immune system gets active. It's called interferon alpha, and about 25% of people about 6 weeks after starting this treatment will get a clinical depression. So we know the immune system causes depression. We also know that keeping the immune system at bay, so many of the treatments we have now, the good news is that we're doing more and more studies and understanding that the treatments for MS, many of them actually help the depression, because of course, since MS causes depression, treating the MS and having it well treated improves it. Exercise is very important for the body, also for the mind. Exercise turns out to be a really good antidepressant, as well as something that prevents people from flipping back into a depression. So the important thing to know is it's not your fault if you have a clinical depression, it's something that is part of the MS. It's no more your fault than if you have, weakness or numbness or tingling. It's treatable. That's also critically important. And what's also very exciting now is that we're discovering many of the treatments for for depression actually end up being good for MS. So there was a double-blind study showing that an SSRI in people who weren't depressed with MS, turns out that those people who were on the SSRI, serotonin selective reuptake inhibitor, it's a type of antidepressant, had fewer lesions over 24 weeks, and now there was a study called the FLAME study, showed the same thing, that this SSRI, it was Prozac, probably works for the other SSRIs like Zoloft and Paxil and the like. Turns out that if you have a stroke, your recovery is dramatically better if you're on an SSRI shortly afterwards. So it turns out these medicines are not just good for the depression, they're good for the MS. That's the important thing. But it's very important that you recognize it and get it treated. The last thing I'll tell you about, and one of the things that we're really excited about, is I finally figured out how Nancy has done so well over the years. It's been, sort of a mystery to me how, she has continued to seem to get better with each year that I've known her. So it turns out, if you go back 60 years or so, Viktor Frankl survived the Holocaust, kept saying that there's this importance in having a purpose in life. And that was sort of interesting at the time, and people sort of let it go. In the last 10 years, what we've realized is that there's a simple test to see what people's purpose in life is, which means the belief that your life has meaning, the belief that what you're doing is helping not just yourself but other people. And it turns out those people with high purpose in life scores have 50% less likelihood over the course of 5 years to go on and have a heart attack. They're 60% less likely to get a stroke, and it turns out they're 2.5 times less likely to progress to Alzheimer's disease. An interesting study that came out said it's not just that that these people with Alzheimer's disease had good brains and therefore high purpose in life. It turns out whether or not those lesions you get in your brain with Alzheimer's disease lead to cognitive impairment, lead to the dementia, has more to do with whether you have a high purpose in life score or not. If you have a high purpose in life, the same number of lesions will not lead to dementia. If you have a low purpose in life, you will get it. So now we're beginning to look into MS and how purpose in life plays an important role. We know we can improve people's purpose in life through doing things like trying to do what it is that Nancy and Jack and the rest of the people on this panel do, which is try to make each day important in not just sort of pleasure for ourselves, but trying to make this a better world for everybody. So I always talk about purpose in life. The initials are PIL, and too often we doctors are pill pushers in terms of PILL, and we need to work more on the purpose in life. But while we're learning this, you guys need to learn it, and coming here and attending these kinds of events is very good for purpose in life. So, Nancy, now I know why you're doing so well. It's you have this amazing purpose in life, and you help everybody else. So, thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you. That's very sweet. Will you talk briefly about the Mood 24/7?
I'll have to pay you later for that, Nancy. So, thank you. So, one of the things that we've been doing for years as doctors, psychiatrists, is sort of this absurd sort of trick we do, which is people come in and see us, we say, yes, you've got the 9 of 9 symptoms of clinical depression, and I want you to start this medicine. I want you to do some talk therapy. I want you to start exercising. And then come back and see me in a month and tell me how your mood is. And when you come back in a month, we say, how's your mood now compared to how it was a month ago? I don't know about you, but I don't remember what I had for dinner 3 days ago. So how do we really expect people to tell us what it is that's going on a month ago? So one of the things that we developed at Hopkins in conjunction with a company, Remedy Health, it's free, so I can tell you I'm not earning any money from it, because if you want to get rich, don't invent something that's free. But it's called mood247.com, MOOD, the number 247.com. And you sign up online. It's not an app. It's a web-based program, but then you sign up and you say when you want the text to come to your phone. It works on any phone because it's not an app. It's a text, and the text comes in. It says, how's your mood on a scale of 1 to 10? You can just say view 7, send, and you're done. Or you can say view 7, put a space in there and say, and I started this medicine, and I exercised for 30 minutes a day, and I went to the Nancy Davis Expo, the Race to Erase MS. So used to having Nancy be sort of front and center in my mind, but yes, the Race to Erase MS Expo. And so it becomes an electronic health diary, which you can share with your loved ones, you can share it with your doctors, and it's a way to just keep track of how you're doing. So we've found that 90% of people use it 90% of the time because it's so easy, because nowadays, everybody has one of these, and since, I don't know about you, but I have a 15-year-old daughter who doesn't seem to realize you can actually talk into these things. It's just a texting machine. So it only involves texting, so it's very simple. So thanks.
Love that.
Thank you, Dr. Kaplan. And I know this is something that we're all interested in, as 30 years ago when I was diagnosed with MS, there were no therapies. There was nothing. And there wasn't for several years. But thanks to research of a lot of these doctors here, there is now. And to talk about that, our promising therapies for MS is Dr. Bordet, Dr. Hafler, and Dr. Waban.
Should we talk all at once? I'll just comment on one therapy, or approach to therapy. We have fantastic anti-inflammatories that treat the early phases of MS and growing palliative therapies. The major challenges now confronting us is how do we treat progressive MS and how do we promote repair? So we're just now seeing the first 2 therapies that are designed to promote remyelination beginning to be studied in very early trials in MS. And I think what we're going to be seeing over the coming 5 to 10 years are therapies that actually promote repair and remyelination. And I think that's one important and promising area of research.
Okay, so I'll try to do something different from Dennis. Because there's actually no shortage of promising medications that are coming along. There are actually currently more than 3, 4, 5 new medications that are being tested. I would say that within the next couple of years, we expect that 3 new medications are going to hit the market. So one is pegylated interferon, one is daclizumab, one is ocrelizumab, and it's just medication that work differently, at least for 2 of the 3, than the medications that are on the market right now. So giving more treatment options, sometimes with mode of administration that's different, so that make them possibly better tolerated. And some of these medications are also studied in progressive MS. So very exciting future here.
So I'm going to say something else, or talk about something else. I'm struck by Adam's comment about purpose in life, and it made me reflect a bit. So when I was 17 years old, that was like 40 years ago, I found my purpose in life was to understand multiple sclerosis. It was because I had mentors when I started college who were working on it. I was interested in studying inflammation. And when I think back on where we were in the understanding of MS in 1970, we really, not only did we not have any treatments, we really did not know what caused the disease. Well, I'm sort of a cup half full type of person. And I think at one level, we, at the 35,000 foot view, we sort of know what causes MS now. We really do. There are many questions to be unanswered, a lot of major things we don't know. We don't know why progressive disease occurs, but a whole group of us working together, much of it in fact funded from the Race to Race MS, we discovered the genetic variants, the genes that cause MS. A lot of them have been published, another 100 will soon be published. We know that it's not bad genes, they're good genes. It's not a bad environment, it's a bad interaction between genes and the environment. And very recently, in a paper that has not even been published yet, but soon will be, we've begun to understand how these genes influence the immune system at a molecular level. And by knowing this, we can begin to design drugs that may get to the real purpose of what we want to do to cure the disease, because without knowing the underlying cause, you can't cure a disease. And while we have so much more to learn, understanding how the genetic variants are influencing cells and making immune cells more activated to attack the myelin is going to give us incredible insight into making very specific targeted drugs, which hopefully will be able to prevent the disease. So it's an incredibly exciting time in medical research and in multiple sclerosis research.
Great, thank you.
Can I interrupt for a second? I noticed we forgot something very important. We were going to have each of the doctors really quickly just say, or everybody on the panel say where they're from and which hospital they're from and what their focus is really quick, so when we have the questions later, you'll know who to target. Should we start? We skipped that.
Why don't we just start with Dean Singleton?
Okay. By the way, Dean Singleton is here. We honored Dean last night with our Medal of Hope, and he's quite an inspiration. We're so excited that he's here, and we're very thrilled to honor him last night. He's so deserving.
Oh, you got to hit the button. I'm most certainly not a doctor, and I appreciate all these doctors here who are working on MS research. I can't remember when I was diagnosed. It was so long ago. And I don't remember when I didn't have multiple sclerosis. I just kind of learned to live with it. But I'm excited about all the work that's being done here, thanks to Nancy. When I met Nancy, who just got diagnosed shortly after I had, there were no treatments for MS. They didn't even know for sure how to tell if you had MS. And nobody was paying, well, I'm sure somebody was paying a lot of attention to it, but there wasn't a lot of attention being paid to it. So, Nancy, thanks for getting the spotlight on it and getting us to a point where we're going to cure the damn thing in our lifetime.
Howard, you're mine.
Is that on? Yeah. I'm Leslie Weiner. I'm local. I'm at USC.
Very hard to get into.
Anyway, our interest in MS dates back in my days as a medical student. My medical school thesis, which in those days we had to write a thesis, was on the genetics of MS. And we knew nothing of genetics. We knew less of MS, and I got a terrible grade on that. However, it did make a lifetime commitment to MS because I thought it was such a intriguing and rather a major problem. Our operation involves, of course, a number of people at USC, and we do clinical trials, and we take care of patients. My own research interests have really, in the last 10 years, focused on stem cells and regeneration. We think that these are important points. One of the interests of why there is primary progressive and secondary progressive is the fact that there is now plenty of evidence that the axons are damaged and the neurons die. So we have to prevent that. That's why we are so vigorous with the early treatment. The one issue which I think is important is the fact that just tissue damage inhibits repair and regeneration. So there are probably 10 or 11 factors that can be found in an MS spinal cord and brain that will impair repair and regeneration. So obviously, the major thrust is to prevent the damage. The second is to see how we get around those kinds of phenomena. And we think that even if the stem cells are not the whole answer, we certainly can study the disease, and we certainly can try new agents, and we certainly can basically look. We've just finished a series of experiments with human stem cells that in which we were able to show that going from a primordial stem cell to a cell that makes myelin, that we've identified the fact that there are about 206 genes that are upregulated in those cells. We don't know what those genes are yet, but I think that will be helpful. We don't know if we can turn those on in the patient, but that's the purpose. But I think that there is a lot of thrust right now in the international research community in every country that does first-line research on how to regenerate the nervous system and repair and in the future perhaps get people out of wheelchairs. Thank you.